There's a rivalry brewing in the hunting world so big, it threatens to rip apart the entire community. Bigger than Magic and Larry, bigger than Tyson and Holyfield, bigger than The Bachelor and lasting relationships. The rivalry between OnX and goHUNT maps is about to get real.
Let's get ready to rumble!
But which one is actually better? Let's get into it. What's up guys, it's Eric from Late to the Game Outdoors, and it's possible I slightly overstated just how huge this rivalry is. I mean, essentially we're talking about two competing mapping systems for hunters, so it's not like we need to get the UN involved. Not that they'd accomplish anything anyway, am I right? And before we get into this, know that I am not affiliated with either goHUNT or OnX. I'm not endorsed by either of them, and honestly neither company has any idea I'm making this video. So this is truly just my opinion on the pros and cons of each system, as I've spent a lot of time comparing them side by side. Let's start basic and just look at image and map quality. They're both using satellite imagery and they both created their own topos to overlay, but if you put them side by side, you can see that the images both look fine. In my opinion, and I don't really know how this is possible, I would say the goHUNT image looks better and clearer at mid-range, but when you really punch in, the OnX image stays a little sharper. Personally, that doesn't really bug me either way, because if I'm looking at a brand new area and I'm like really digging in to search for hidden water holes or whatever, I'm probably on Google Earth at that point anyway. But here's where the differences really start to show. When it comes to roads, rivers, trails, all that stuff, I've always struggled with OnX. The road names would only show up at certain zoom levels, and half the time they'd be like hidden under their own road lines, and they just weren't clear or easy to find and keep track of. It drove me nuts. No matter how you're zoomed on goHUNT, the road and trail names keep repositioning and always stay clearly visible. Same with water, clearly labeled at all zoom levels. And this is a dumb thing to be annoyed by, but all the springs were doubled in my OnX for some reason. And springs are kind of a big deal in Arizona. goHUNT just has the one big blue dot and it looks much cleaner. Now here's where things get wildly different. The features on goHUNT are just way more user-friendly for what an e-scouting hunter wants to know. I mean, both have 3D mapping, which is an amazing tool, but I find that the way you navigate through it with goHUNT is just more intuitive, and it gives you what you want to know right away. One of the first things I was blown away with was their line feature, where you just hold the cursor down and draw the route you plan to take in one fluid motion. And then once you've double-clicked on the last point, it immediately calculates the distance in a convenient window right there on the left. You can then save it if you want to refer to your planned route in the field, or quickly delete it, which is what I usually do when I'm just getting a feel for an area from the air. To get the same info on OnX, you have to drop a long series of points, which if you're following a trail with a bunch of switchbacks or something, is a massive pain. And then at the end, you have to save it, click on it again, and then it'll show you your distance. And then after that, you can delete it. It's the tiniest inconvenience, but come on.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Now to be fair, I do prefer the OnX readout when you finally can look at that line, because it'll give you the distance and elevation gain and loss all in one clean and simple window. goHUNT will show you the distance right away, but then you have to use their separate elevation profile feature if you want those details. But once you're looking at that, it then gives you way more detailed information about the hike you're about to take. Just make sure to change the settings before you draw the line. I spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to relearn the metric system before I figured out you have to choose feet before you draw your line.
Learn the metric system. Everyone learn the metric system. Big switch coming up.
As far as the mobile app versions of each, they both offer the same kind of features. You can download the areas you plan to hunt so you can still use them when you have no service. Honestly, if you go looking through the settings and layers available, it's almost identical. Although now that I'm learning where everything is in the goHUNT app, I kind of like the layout a bit better. Now to be real, I've only been using the goHUNT app for just a little while now as I compare the two, so I have a lot more hours spent with OnX. But I've had more than a handful of times where my OnX directional indicator seems to be wigging out, like it's telling me I'm going one direction.
The story of my life, I take her home.
But I know for certain I'm not facing that direction, and it's fine when I know exactly where I'm going, but I've definitely been pushed off course a couple times in the dark when the app was not cooperating. So far, I've had zero issues with that on the goHUNT app. Now, that could absolutely be my phone glitching, and you can't really blame OnX. I don't know, I'm not this lady. But I'm encouraged so far that goHUNT isn't showing any signs of that issue. So what's the verdict? Well, the mobile versions are almost too close to call. Just very similar features and user interface, though I still give the clean look and clarity of water, trails, and roads to goHUNT. But when it comes to the desktop version, I am blown away by goHUNT. There's so much you can dig into. It's very intuitive, and frankly, I just like it better than OnX in just about every way. So, simply on those merits, I'm switching to goHUNT Maps. Now, what absolutely seals the deal for me is that goHUNT added maps to my existing membership. It's not an upcharge, it's not yet another annual subscription.
Money, please.
They just added this massive feature to something I'm already paying for. And in my case, I was gonna have to upgrade my OnX this year anyway. I've been paying for 2 states, Arizona and Colorado, which comes out to $60 a year. Since I'm heading to Utah next month, I was about to call them and upgrade to the Elite membership for $100 to get all 50 states. With goHUNT proving to be an extremely robust mapping system, I'm just gonna cancel my OnX, so now I'm only paying the $150 a year I was already paying to be a goHUNT insider. So if you're not into points or draw odds and you just had no interest in joining goHUNT before, yes, it's more expensive for the maps alone than OnX is. But in my opinion, if you were gonna go with one over the other, goHUNT offers you the draw odds, their incredible gear shop, and what I would argue are better maps for just $50 more per year. Well worth it. But Eric, I already have 1 million waypoints stored in my current mapping system and it'll take me forever to transfer them all. Not so, my friend. I thought the same thing, and it literally took me 37 seconds to get all my waypoints transferred over. Just head into your current map or GPS system, export all your content into a KML file, then just come over to goHUNT and click import. Select that KML file, and in a matter of seconds, you'll have all your waypoints, tracks, and anything else you've ever stored or loaded right there in your goHUNT desktop and mobile app. The only slight inconvenience is if you've taken the time to color code or change the icons on your waypoints, you'll have to go back and redo that. But if you labeled your waypoints or made any notes on them, they're all there to help you decipher what you had before. So there you have it, my 2 cents on these 2 great mapping systems. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go break up with OnX via text.
Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts.
I'm kidding. I don't think that's how it actually works. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and if you do me a favor and subscribe right down here, I'd really appreciate it. If you want 5 game changers on how to stop bow hiking and start bow hunting, that video is right over there. And if you want to check out my most recent hunt, my 2021 Arizona Spring Bear film is right down there. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.